The first time Chen realized she might be in love with Amber Blake was approximately 14 seconds after Amber shoved her into the school fountain in front of 847 people. The TikTok currently had 2.3 million views. Riley's mom thought it was adorable. Riley's therapist disagreed. Asterisk asterisk. If you are already imagining what could be happening, subscribe, like, and comment where you are watching from. But let's rewind 6 weeks. Back when Riley's biggest problem was pretending she didn't live above a laundromat that exclusively washed furry convention costumes. Monday, 7:42 a.m. Riley was late. Not fashionably late. Not protagonist running with toast late. Actually late because Mrs. Chen had accidentally donated Riley's only good jeans to Goodwill, and now she was wearing what her little brother called librarian chic meets depression. She burst through the doors of Riverside Performing Arts Academy just as Principal Martinez finished announcements. And our spring musical will be Romeo and Juliet, but make it corporate merger. Riley stopped listening. Because there, highlighted by that specific kind of natural lighting that only existed to make popular girls look ethereal, stood Amber Blake. Amber Blake, who looked like if Zendaya and a Ralph Lauren catalog had a baby that was raised by wolves who exclusively ate organic kale. Amber Blake, who had never worn the same outfit twice. Amber Blake, who was curtly staring at Riley like she'd tracked dog shit through a museum. "You're wearing that?" Amber said. Not hello. Not good morning. Just immediate violence. "You're being you?" Riley shot back, which wasn't her best work, but it was 7:43 a.m. and she was running on 3 hours of sleep and spite. Amber's perfectly glossed lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Careful, Chen. Your poverty's showing." The hallway went quiet. That specific kind of high school quiet that meant someone was about to either cry or commit murder. Riley felt her face burn. Because here's the thing about being poor at a performing arts school. Everyone assumed you were there on scholarship, true, which meant you were talented, questionable, which meant you were okay with people knowing your business, absolutely not. "At least I have a personality that isn't just rich girl with daddy issues," Riley said. Amber's smile sharpened. "Daddy issues? That's cute. Tell me, does your dad still send child support, or did he completely forget you existed?" And there it was. The thing nobody talked about. The thing Riley had successfully hidden for 3 years by simply never mentioning her dad. Ever. To anyone. Riley's best friend Jordan grabbed her arm. "Don't. Too late. At least my dad left on purpose," Riley said. "Yours just wishes he could." The crowd gasped. Actual gasps like they were extras in a teen drama. Amber went completely still. For exactly 2 seconds, something flickered across her face, something that looked almost like pain, before it vanished behind her usual expression of mild disdain mixed with superiority. "Enjoy your day, Chen," Amber said, voice cold enough to frost glass. "I know I'll enjoy mine." She walked away, her little gaggle of followers trailing behind like well-dressed ducklings. Jordan whistled low. "Dude, that was horrible." "I know." Riley slumped against the lockers. "Why do I always do this?" "Because she brings out your inner demon?" "She brings out my inner idiot." Also true. Riley watched Amber disappear around the corner, flanked by her best friend Sage, built like a volleyball player, dressed like old money, terrifying, and her other friend Duchess. Yes, actually called Duchess, no one knew why, possibly royal, definitely had a trust fund. "I hate her," Riley muttered. Jordan gave her a look. "Sure you do.
You don't.
You know there's a betting pool, right? On when you two finally." "Don't finish that sentence. Admit you're obsessed with each other." Riley stared at her. "I'm not obsessed. I'm strategically aware of my enemy's location at all times. That's called stalking. It's called survival." Jordan's phone buzzed. She looked at it, then at Riley, then back at her phone. "Oh no." "What?" "Check your email." Riley pulled out her phone, a iPhone 8 with a cracked screen that she'd convinced everyone was vintage aesthetic, and opened her email. From Principal Martinez. Subject: Spring Musical, Important Update. Dear Chen and Amber Blake, *, congratulations. Due to your passionate dedication to the performing arts, and the fact that you both submitted competing proposals for the spring musical, the board has decided you will co-direct this year's production. Asterisk. Riley stopped breathing. Asterisk. This is a wonderful opportunity for collaboration and growth. You'll begin immediately. First meeting today, 3 p.m., auditorium. Asterisk. Failure to cooperate will result in both of you losing your recommendation letters. Best. Principal Martinez. Asterisk. P.S. Please stop fighting in the hallways. We have a reputation. Asterisk.
No, Relay whispered.
Oh yes, Jordan said, grinning. This is a nightmare. This is content.
Can I film this?
Jordan. Too late. I'm already texting everyone. Riley looked up to find Amber Blake storming back down the hallway, phone in hand, face like a thundercloud. They made eye contact. Amber mouthed, "This is your fault." Riley mouthed back, "How is this my fault?" Amber stopped directly in front of her. Up close, she smelled like expensive perfume and what Riley could only describe as rich people confidence.
We need to talk, Amber said.
We really don't. Auditorium. Lunch. Don't be late. I'm not taking orders from you. Amber leaned in, close enough that Riley could see the tiny freckle on her left cheekbone that absolutely shouldn't have been as distracting as it was. Then consider it a strongly worded suggestion from someone who's about to make your life a living hell. She walked away again. This time, Riley noticed she was walking faster than usual. Almost like she was rattled?
No.
Amber Blake didn't get rattled. Amber Blake was made of ice and designer labels and whatever rich people used instead of feelings. Jordan nudged her. You're staring. I'm plotting her demise.
Sure.
That's what that face means. What face? I'm about to make terrible life choices face. Riley checked her phone. 7:58 a.m. She had exactly 6 hours and 2 minutes before she had to sit in a room with Amber Blake and pretend to be professional. This was fine. She could do this. She'd survived worse. She had not, in fact, survived worse. Lunch period. Riley arrived at the auditorium at 12:31, which was exactly 1 minute late. Petty, but strategic. Amber was already there, sitting in the front row, perfectly straight posture, legs crossed, scrolling through her phone like she was reviewing stock portfolios instead of Instagram. You're late, Amber said without looking up. You're early.
I'm punctual.
There's a difference. Riley dropped her backpack on a seat 3 rows back.
So,
how do you want to do this?
simple.
I direct, you assist. Excuse me? Amber finally looked up. I have experience. I've done summer intensive at Juilliard. I've worked with Tony-nominated directors. My mother literally produced a Broadway show. Your mother bought a seat on a board. That's not the same thing. Amber's jaw tightened. And what's your experience? Community theater in a strip mall? Better than paying for someone to pretend you're talented. They stared at each other. The auditorium felt very small suddenly. This isn't going to work, Amber said. First thing we've agreed on. We need rules. Riley blinked. Rules, boundaries, structure. A system that prevents us from killing each other.
I'm listening.
Amber pulled out her phone. Newest model, because of course, and open notes. Rule 1, no personal attacks. You literally called me poor this morning. That was observation, not attack. How is that different? Observation is factual. Attack is emotional. Riley's eye twitched.
Fine.
Rule 2, we split decisions 50-50. Absolutely not. I'm not letting you turn this into some experimental garbage where everyone wears trash bags and speaks in interpretive dance. That was one time, and it was symbolic. It was pretentious. You wouldn't know art if it bit you. I wouldn't know art? I literally. Amber stopped, took a breath, and pinched the bridge of her nose. Okay. Compromise. We each pick our top 3 priorities for the show. Where they overlap, we agree. Where they don't, I don't know, flip a coin. Riley considered this. It was surprisingly reasonable, which was suspicious.
Fine.
But rule 3, no sabotage. Obviously. No, I mean it. No accidentally scheduling rehearsals when I have class. No forgetting to tell me about meetings. No convincing the cast I'm incompetent. Amber looked genuinely offended. I wouldn't do that. You literally started a rumor last year that I got my scholarship by faking a dead grandma. That wasn't. Amber paused. Okay, that might have been me. But in my defense, you started a rumor I only got into Yale because my mom donated a library. You did only get into Yale because your mom donated a library. She donated a wing of a library. There's a difference. Oh my God. It's not my fault you're poor. It's not my fault you're insufferable. They were standing now. Neither remembered standing, both somehow in each other's space, breathing hard. Amber's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and something in her expression shifted. Closed off. I have to go, she said abruptly. We're not done. Yes, we are. First rehearsal is tomorrow. Don't be late. She grabbed her bag and left before Riley could respond. Jordan appeared from the wings. Was she crying?
What? No.
Amber doesn't cry. She probably just got dust in her Prada. Dude, her eyes were definitely watery. Riley looked at the door Amber had disappeared through. She's fine. She's always fine. But something nagged at her. That look on Amber's face. That moment of what? Vulnerability?
Impossible.
Her phone buzzed. Unknown number asterisk, stop telling people I cried. I have allergies. Riley stared at it. Then, Riley asterisk, how did you get my number? Unknown number asterisk, I have my ways. Riley asterisk, that's creepy. Unknown number asterisk, that's resourceful. Save my number. We'll need to communicate about the musical. Riley asterisk, I'd rather eat glass. Unknown number asterisk, how very dramatic. You'll fit right in at rehearsal. Unknown number asterisk, this is Amber, by the way. Riley asterisk, I figured. Amber asterisk, good. You're not completely hopeless. Riley asterisk, is this you being nice? Amber asterisk, this is me being professional. Don't confuse the two. Riley stared at her phone for a full minute before realizing she was smiling. Then she immediately stopped smiling, because what the hell? Jordan was watching her, with the kind of expression that meant Riley was about to be roasted into oblivion. Don't, Riley warned. I didn't say anything. You're thinking it. I'm thinking many things. All of them hilarious. Riley's phone buzzed again. Amber asterisk rule 4. No screenshots of our conversations. Riley asterisk, why would I screenshot? Amber asterisk, because you're petty and you know it. Riley asterisk, fair. Amber asterisk, see you tomorrow, Chen. Riley asterisk, unfortunately. Riley shoved her phone in her pocket and tried to ignore the weird flutter in her stomach that definitely wasn't butterflies because that would be ridiculous. You're so screwed, Jordan said cheerfully. Shut up. Like, cosmically screwed. I hate you. You love me. Just like you're going to. If you finish that sentence, I'm blocking you on everything. Jordan mimed zipping her lips. But her eyes said, I know what's coming, and it's going to be hilarious. Riley had a sinking feeling she was right. If you're already hooked on this disaster, smash that like button. And comment below, Team Amber or Team Riley. Because things are about to get so much more complicated. Asterisk asterisk. First rehearsal. Tuesday, 3:15 p.m. Riley showed up exactly on time with a binder full of notes, color-coded tabs, and a game plan. She was professional. She was prepared. She was absolutely not thinking about the way Amber's perfume had lingered in the auditorium yesterday. The auditorium was packed. Apparently, news of their co-direction had spread, and now everyone wanted front-row seats to the drama. Amber arrived at 3:16, wearing high-waisted black pants and a white silk blouse that probably cost more than Riley's entire wardrobe. She looked like she was about to fire someone at a Fortune 500 company. You're late, Riley said automatically. 1 minute isn't late. It's not on time. God, you're exhausting. Amber set her designer bag down. Riley refused to know the brand, refused to care that it was probably worth a month of rent, and turned to face the assembled cast. About 40 students sat in the seats, whispering, phones out, clearly expecting a show. All right, Amber said, voice carrying effortlessly. Let's establish some ground rules. We're establishing rules together, Riley interrupted. Amber's left eye twitched. Of course. Together. As co-directors. Equal co-directors.
Yes.
Equal. Amber smiled tightly. Riley, would you like to start? This was a trap. Riley could feel it, but she also couldn't back down.
Sure.
First rule, this is a collaborative space. Everyone's voice matters. Within reason, Amber added. Without qualification. Some voices matter more than others. That's literally the opposite of collaboration. The cast was watching them like a tennis match. A sophomore named Travis raised his hand. Are you two, okay? We're fine, they said in unison, then glared at each other. Rule 2, Riley continued. We're doing this show as written.
No random additions.
I was thinking we could modernize it, Amber said. That's a random addition. That's improvement. That's you thinking you're smarter than Shakespeare. Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet as a tragedy about teenage idiocy. I think he'd appreciate the irony of us improving it. Riley took a deep breath. We agreed on 50-50 decisions. And I'm deciding we should modernize. That's not how this works. Amber crossed her arms. Then how does it work, Riley? Enlighten me. The auditorium door slammed open. Principal Martinez walked in, followed by a man in his 30s wearing a hoodie that said Theater Dad in glitter letters. Ladies, Principal Martinez said, I'd like you to meet Mr. DeMarco. He'll be supervising your situation. Mr. DeMarco waved. Hey, kids. Call me Tony. I'm here to make sure you two don't murder each other. Think of me as your referee/therapist/guy who stops you from making terrible choices. We don't need supervision, Amber said. We're perfectly capable, Riley started. You've been here 10 minutes, and you're already fighting about Shakespeare, Tony interrupted. Sit down. Both of you. They sat. Riley noticed they'd automatically chosen seats on opposite ends of the front row. Tony clapped his hands. Okay. New plan. You two are going to spend the next week planning this show together. And I mean together. Same room. Same table. You're going to learn to communicate like adults. That's not necessary, Amber began. Starting tomorrow, you have daily meetings.
6 Uhr morgens.
Riley's soul left her body. 6 a.m.? I don't do mornings, Amber said flatly. You do now, Tony said cheerfully. Also, you're required to eat lunch together. And you'll be sharing all directing duties. If Riley runs warm-ups, Amber runs notes. You switch every day. This is cruel and unusual punishment, Riley muttered. This is character building, Tony corrected. Also, I'm going to film some of your sessions for a documentary about the creative process. Absolutely not, Amber said. It's part of the school's grant requirement. Smile for the camera. A student worker appeared with a camcorder. Riley wanted to die. First session is tomorrow, 6 a.m., in the Black Box Theater, Tony continued. Bring coffee, bring patience, and bring an actual willingness to work together. Or I'm canceling the show, and you both lose your recommendations. Questions? Silence. Great. Cast, you're dismissed. Riley, Amber, stay behind. The auditorium emptied with the speed of students fleeing a pop quiz. Riley and Amber remained seated, separated by 20 feet of theatrical tension. Tony sat on the edge of the stage.
Look.
I know you two have history. We don't have history, Riley said quickly. We have a mutual agreement to stay out of each other's way, Amber added.
Right. Sure.
Which is why Principal Martinez's office has a file labeled Riley and Amber Incidents that's 3 inches thick. Riley felt her face heat. Those were misunderstandings. You pushed her into the fountain last month. She said my audition was community theater at best. It was community theater at best, Amber said. See. Tony pointed at them. This is the problem. You can't even have a conversation without taking shots at each other. She started it. Real mature, Chen. Tony sighed. Here's the thing. You're both incredibly talented. Riley, your vision is unique and emotionally intelligent. Amber, your technical skills and discipline are exceptional. Together, you could create something amazing. Apart, you're just two kids wasting everyone's time. Riley glanced at Amber, who was staring at the floor, jaw tight. So here's your actual first assignment, Tony said. Tonight, you're going to have dinner. Just the two of you. Somewhere neutral. You're going to actually talk about why you hate each other. And then you're going to find one thing you have in common besides theater. That's not possible, Riley said. Then I guess you're not going to Yale or getting your recommendation, Tony said simply. Your choice. He left. The auditorium felt very empty suddenly. Amber stood. This is ridiculous. Agreed. We're not doing dinner. Definitely not. They looked at each other. But we need those recommendations, Amber said slowly. Unfortunately. So we have to do this. Unfortunately. Amber pulled out her phone. There's a cafe on 5th Street. Neutral territory. 7 p.m.
Fine.
Don't be late. I'm never late. You were late this morning. That was one time. Amber walked away, leaving Riley alone in the auditorium, wondering how her life had become an after-school special. Her phone buzzed. Jordan asterisk I heard about the dinner. Where something nice. Riley asterisk it's not a date. Jordan asterisk sure. That's why you're panicking. Riley asterisk I'm not panicking. Jordan asterisk caps lock says otherwise. Riley asterisk I hate everything. Jordan asterisk you love it. You're just scared. Riley stared at that message for a long time before closing her phone without responding. Because here's the thing. Jordan wasn't wrong. And that was terrifying. 7:02 p.m. Riley walked into the cafe, wearing jeans that weren't from Goodwill, borrowed from Jordan, and a sweater that made her look like she had her life together, also borrowed from Jordan. Amber was already there, sitting at a corner table, wearing a casual outfit that probably cost more than Riley's mom's car. She was reading a book. An actual physical book, like some kind of literary psychopath. Riley approached. You're early.
I'm punctual.
Is that the only adjective you know? Amber looked up, and something flickered across her face, something that might have been amusement. Sit down before you strain something trying to be clever. Riley sat. The table was small. Their knees almost touched. A waiter appeared. What can I get you? Green tea, Amber said. Coffee.
Black.
Largest size you have. The waiter left. Awkward silence descended like a fog. So, Riley said. So. This is weird. Extremely. Tony's insane. Completely. More silence. Riley noticed Amber was tapping her fingers on the table, a nervous habit.
Impossible.
Amber didn't get nervous. What are you reading? Riley asked, because apparently her brain had decided small talk was the move. Amber showed her the cover. Bird by Anne Lamott. Writing book. It's about creative process. And not being terrible. Amber paused. You'd probably like it. Was that a compliment? From Amber Blake? Riley checked for signs of the apocalypse. I'll check it out, Riley said carefully. Don't bother. I'll lend it to you. You'd lend me something? It's a book, not a kidney.
Still.
That's very human of you. Amber's mouth twitched. I contain multitudes. Is that a Whitman reference? You know Whitman? I know things. Surprising. Why is that surprising? Amber leaned back. Because you spend so much energy pretending to be this scrappy underdog that I assumed you didn't have time for poetry. Riley felt something sharp in her chest. And you spend so much energy pretending to be perfect that I assumed you didn't have time for feelings. Direct hit. Amber's expression shuddered. That's not fair, Amber said quietly. Neither is assuming I'm stupid because I'm poor. I never said you were stupid. You've said it 100 different ways. That's not. Amber stopped.
Took a breath.
You're right. I have. And I'm sorry. Riley blinked. Did you just apologize? Don't make a big deal out of it. You never apologize. I'm making an exception.
Why?
Amber looked at her, really looked at her, and Riley felt something shift in the air between them. Because Tony's right, Amber said. We could actually do something good together. If we stopped being idiots. We're very good at being idiots. The best. Their drinks arrived. Riley wrapped her hands around the warm mug, suddenly aware of how close Amber was sitting. Close enough to see the tiny scar on her chin. Close enough to notice she wasn't wearing her usual perfect makeup. Can I ask you something? Riley said. Depends on the question. Why do you hate me? Amber was quiet for a long moment. I don't hate you. You called me poor in front of the entire school. That was deflection. From what? From the fact that you scare me. Riley laughed. I scare you? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You do. Amber looked down at her tea. You don't care what people think. You just exist. Authentically. And I've spent my entire life curating this perfect image, and you just show up in your thrift store clothes and your complete lack of filter, and everyone loves you anyway. Riley's brain short-circuited. Everyone doesn't love me. Yes, they do. You're real. I'm just a performance. That's not true. Isn't it? Amber smiled, but it was sad. My mom hired a publicist when I was 12. A publicist for a 12-year-old. Do you know how insane that is? That's actually insane. Everything I do is calculated. Every outfit. Every post. Every friendship. Amber paused. Except fighting with you. That's the only real thing I do. Riley didn't know what to say. This felt like seeing behind a curtain she wasn't supposed to see behind. I'm sorry, Riley said finally. About your dad comment. That was shitty. It was accurate. Still shitty.
Yeah.
Amber met her eyes. But I deserved it. Nobody deserves that. They sat in silence, but it felt different now. Less hostile. More something else. So, Amber said. One thing in common. Besides theater? Besides theater.
Riley thought about it.
We both have complicated relationships with our parents. That's depressing. You ask. Fair. Amber smiled, a real smile, not her usual perfect for photos smile. Okay. We both drink our coffee black. You're drinking tea. Usually I drink coffee. Black. That counts. I'm making it count. Riley found herself smiling back. Okay.
Deal.
One thing in common. Terrible taste in beverages. Hey. Black coffee is sophisticated. Black coffee is what people drink when they've given up on happiness. Same thing. They talked for another hour. About books, about theater, about their terrible taste in reality TV that they both pretended not to watch. And somewhere around minute 47, Riley realized she'd stopped thinking of Amber as her enemy. Which was a problem. A big problem. Because enemies were easy. Enemies made sense. Whatever this was, this weird camaraderie, this unexpected understanding, was complicated and messy and absolutely terrifying. At 8:30, Amber checked her phone and frowned. I have to go, she said. My mom wants me home for some charity thing. On a Tuesday? My life is a series of charity things. They stood. Amber grabbed her book and handed it to Riley.
Here.
Read it. You're serious about lending this? I never joke about books. Riley took it. Their fingers brushed. Brief. Electric. Amber pulled back quickly. Tomorrow.
6 Uhr morgens.
I'll be there. Bring coffee. Only if you bring pastries.
Deal.
Amber left, and Riley stood there holding a book that smelled like expensive perfume and felt like a grenade with a pin pulled. Her phone buzzed. Jordan asterisk well? Riley asterisk well what? Jordan asterisk how was the not date? Riley asterisk it was fine. Normal. Professional. Jordan asterisk you're a terrible liar. Riley asterisk I'm an excellent liar. Jordan asterisk then why are you smiling at your phone right now? Riley looked up. Jordan was sitting 3 tables away, grinning like a maniac. How long have you been here? Riley demanded. The whole time. You didn't notice because you were too busy making hard eyes at Amber Blake. I wasn't. You were practically drooling. That's not.
Dude.
You're so gone for her. I am not. But Riley's face was burning, and Jordan was laughing, and somewhere in the back of Riley's mind, a small voice whispered, "You're in so much trouble."
6 Uhr am.
Riley showed up with 2 large coffees and the existential dread of someone who'd realized they might be developing feelings for their mortal enemy. Amber was already there, sitting cross-legged on the stage with a box of fancy pastries and her hair in a messy bun that should not have been as attractive as it was. "You're on time," Amber said. "You sound surprised." "I'm always surprised when you do what you're supposed to. And yet I keep surprising you." Amber smiled into her coffee.
Yeah.
"You do." Riley sat down next to her, not too close but not distant either, and grabbed a croissant.
"So,
"Where do we start?" "Tony wants us to talk about our creative visions." Amber made air quotes. "That sounds painful." "Extremely." They ate in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Amber said, "I want the show to matter." Riley looked at her. "What do you mean?" "I mean, most high school shows are just fluff. Something for parents to film on their phones and forget about. I want to do something that actually means something." "Like what?" Amber pulled out her notebook, not her phone, an actual paper notebook, and opened it to a page full of notes and sketches. "What if we kept the framework of Romeo and Juliet, but made it about," she paused, looking uncertain, "about 2 people who everyone expects to hate each other, who are supposed to be enemies because of their families, their backgrounds, their circumstances. But what if they're not actually enemies at all?" Riley's heart did something complicated. "That's actually really good." "You think so?"
Yeah.
"It's personal without being preachy. Relatable without being too on the nose." Riley grabbed the notebook and started sketching. "What if we set it in a competitive dance studio? 2 teams. Rival families. But the leads keep being paired together for competitions." Amber leaned closer, studying the sketch. "And they have to pretend to hate each other in public, but in private. They're actually friends," Riley finished. "Or more than friends." They looked at each other. "That could work," Amber said slowly. "It could really work. We'd have to rewrite a lot." "I'm good with rewrites." "I know you are." Amber paused. "I've read your stuff. Your 1X. They're good." Riley's brain stopped working. "You've read my stuff?" "I read everything in the drama archives." "Research. That's kinda creepy." "That's thorough." Amber's ears turned slightly pink. "And, before you ask, yes, I liked them. Your dialogue is sharp. Your characters feel real." Riley didn't know what to do with that information. "Thank you." "You're welcome." They worked for the next hour, trading the notebook back and forth, building scenes, arguing about word choices, laughing at stupid jokes. And somewhere around the 40-minute mark, Riley realized they'd been sitting so close their shoulders were touching. She should move. Moving would be smart. She didn't move. "I have a question," Amber said suddenly. "Shoot." "Why do you work so hard to hide where you live?" Riley froze. "What?" "I'm not judging. I'm just curious." Amber closed the notebook. "You lie about your address. You never let anyone pick you up. You pretend your apartment is somewhere nice." "How do you?" "I pay attention." Riley wanted to be angry, wanted to feel violated. But Amber's expression was genuine curiosity, not judgment. "Because," Riley said carefully, "if people know you're poor, they treat you differently. They assume you're desperate or charity case or that you only got in because of some diversity quota. And maybe some of that's true, but it's not all I am." Amber nodded slowly. "I get that. Do you?"
Yeah.
"Because if people know my mom bought my way into things, they assume I'm not actually talented. That everything I've achieved is fake."
She paused.
"And maybe some of that's true too. But it's not all I am either." They sat with that for a moment. "We're more similar than I thought," Riley said. "Don't sound so horrified." "I'm not horrified. I'm just processing." "Process faster. We have work to do." But Amber was smiling, and Riley was smiling, and when their hands brushed reaching for the same pen, neither of them pulled away quite as fast as they should have. This story is getting messy, and we're here for it. Hit that like button if you're already invested in this disaster. subscribe, and drop a comment with your prediction. How long until they admit they like each other? Days? Weeks? Never, because they're both stubborn disasters? Let me know. 1 week later. Things had changed. Not dramatically. Not obviously. But in small ways that Riley couldn't stop noticing. Like how Amber always brought an extra coffee now the way Riley liked it. Like how Riley had started leaving sticky notes with terrible puns in Amber's locker. Like how they texted at weird hours. 2 a.m. conversations about character motivation and stagecraft and absolutely nothing important. Like how Riley's stomach flipped every time Amber walked into a room. That was new. And terrifying. "You're staring again," Jordan said, appearing at Riley's locker with the subtlety of a freight train. "I'm not staring.
I'm observing."
You're observing her ass. I'm observing her directorial choices. Her ass-directorial choices? Riley slammed her locker. "I hate you. You love me, just like you're falling for." Do not finish that sentence. But Jordan just grinned, because they both knew it was true. Rehearsal that afternoon was chaos. The leads, a junior named Marcus and a senior named Elena, couldn't get the choreography right. The ensemble kept forgetting their blocking. And someone had accidentally ordered 100 plastic swords instead of 10. "How do you accidentally order 100? Riley demanded. "I don't know," the props manager wailed. "I thought it said 10. Amber pinched the bridge of her nose. "It's fine. We'll make it work.
How?
We'll incorporate them. Big fight scene. Everyone gets a sword." "That's actually brilliant," Riley said. "I know." Amber turned to the cast. "All right, everyone grab a sword. We're running the Act 2 confrontation." Places. The rehearsal turned into controlled chaos. Plastic swords everywhere. Students dramatically fighting while trying not to laugh. Marcus accidentally hit himself in the face. Elena couldn't stop giggling. And through it all, Riley watched Amber direct with this fierce concentration that was absolutely unfair to witness. The way she demonstrated a move with perfect precision. The way she encouraged without coddling. The way her entire face lit up when someone nailed a difficult sequence. Riley was so screwed. "Take 5. Amber called. The cast dispersed. Riley was about to check her notes when she felt someone sit next to her. Amber, holding 2 water bottles. She handed one to Riley without a word. "Thanks," Riley said. "You're welcome." They sat in companionable silence, watching the cast mess around with their prop swords. "This is going well," Amber said. "Really well. Your choreography idea was perfect. Your dialogue rewrites made it work." Riley looked at her. "Did we just compliment each other without insults?" "I think we did." Character growth. We're basically different people. Totally unrecognizable. Amber smiled, and Riley felt that stupid flutter again. This was getting ridiculous. "Can I ask you something?" Riley said.
Sure.
"That day at the cafe, you said fighting with me was the only real thing you do." "Yeah. Did you mean that?" Amber was quiet for a moment, watching the cast.
Yeah.
"I did." "Why?" "Because you're the only person who doesn't want anything from me. You just react. Honestly. Even when it's mean. Especially when it's mean." "Especially then." Amber turned to look at her. "Everyone else treats me like I'm fragile or like I'm a means to an end. Their ticket to a better college recommendation or whatever. But you treat me like I'm just a person. An annoying person, but a person." Riley's throat felt tight. "You're not that annoying. Liar." "Okay, you're extremely annoying. But in like an endearing way." "Did you just call me endearing? I might have had a stroke." "Don't read into it." Amber laughed, a real laugh, not her practiced one, and bumped Riley's shoulder with hers. "You're not that annoying either."
Wow.
High praise from Amber Blake. Treasure it. I don't give it often. They sat there, shoulders touching, and Riley thought, this is the moment. This is when I should pull away. Create distance. Remember, she's supposed to be my enemy. She didn't move. Neither did Amber. Tony appeared from the wings, camera in hand. "This is gold. The documentary is going to be incredible." They sprang apart like they'd been electrocuted. How long have you been filming? Riley demanded. Long enough. Tony grinned. The tension is beautiful. Very enemies to lovers. We're not, Amber started. There's no, Riley stammered. Sure. Keep telling yourselves that. Tony walked away, still filming. Riley and Amber looked at each other.
He's delusional, Amber said.
Completely. There's no tension. None whatsoever. We're just co-directors. Professional colleagues. Exactly. They were both blushing. Riley's phone buzzed. She looked at it and immediately wanted to throw it into the ocean. Unknown number asterisk, I heard you and Amber are basically dating now. Congrats. Riley asterisk, who is this? Unknown number asterisk, this is your reputation calling.
It's dead.
You killed it. Riley showed Amber the phone. Someone's spreading rumors. Amber's jaw tightened. Let me see. She took the phone, read the message, and her expression went cold. I know that number.
Who?
My ex-best friend.
Victoria.
Amber typed something quickly and hit send. Amber, from Riley's phone back off, or I'll tell everyone about spring break. Victoria asterisk, you wouldn't dare. Amber asterisk, try me. The messages stopped. What happened spring break? Riley asked. Nothing important. Just ammunition. Amber handed back the phone. She won't bother you again. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. Amber stood up. Nobody messes with you. Why? Amber looked at her. Something intense and unreadable in her expression. Because you're mine to mess with. Nobody else gets that privilege. She walked away before Riley could process that sentence. Jordan materialized instantly. Dude.
Don't.
She basically just claimed you. She did not. You're mine to mess with? That's basically a proposal. That's not. Riley stopped. Wait, you heard that? Everyone heard that. We were all pretending not to listen. Riley looked around. The entire cast was studiously avoiding eye contact while clearly eavesdropping. She was going to die. Right here. Death by embarrassment. Back to work. Riley called out. Nothing to see here. Sure, boss, Marcus said, grinning. Whatever you say. The next hour was torture. Everyone kept giving her knowing looks. Amber pretended nothing had happened, which somehow made it worse. At 6 p.m., Tony called it. Good work today, everyone. Riley, Amber, stick around. The cast filed out, several of them making kissy faces behind Tony's back. Riley contemplated murder. Once they were alone, Tony sat on the edge of the stage.
So,
we need to talk. About what? Amber asked carefully. About the fact that you two have so much unresolved tension that it's affecting the entire production. That's not, Riley started. I'm not judging.
I'm observing.
Tony pulled out his phone and showed them a video. It was them from earlier, sitting close, shoulders touching, looking at each other like,
oh God.
See. Tony said, that's not professionalism. That's something else. We're just, Amber began. Friends, Tony offered. Because friends don't look at each other like that. Riley wanted the ground to swallow her whole. Here's the thing, Tony continued. Whatever this is between you two, it's yours. I'm not going to tell you what to do with it. But you need to figure it out before it explodes during opening night. Figure what out? Riley asked weakly. Whether you hate each other or want to kiss each other. Because right now it looks like both. He left. Silence. Riley stared at the floor. Amber stared at the ceiling. Neither of them moved. So, Amber said finally. So, that was mortifying. Completely. He's wrong though. Obviously. Obviously. More silence. Riley. Yeah. Amber took a breath. Do you think he's wrong? Riley's heart stopped. About what part? About us. Whatever we are. This was it. The moment. Riley could laugh it off. Make a joke. Pretend everything was fine. Or she could tell the truth. I don't know, Riley said quietly. I thought I hated you. But now. Now I don't. And that's terrifying. Amber was quiet for a long moment. Then, I haven't hated you in weeks. Riley looked up. What? The cafe. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't. Amber struggled with the words. I couldn't pretend anymore. Pretend what? That I didn't want to know you. Really know you. Not the version you show everyone. The real you. Riley's brain was short-circuiting. Amber, I know this is complicated. I know we have history and baggage, and everyone expects us to hate each other. But I can't. Amber stopped, frustrated. I'm bad at this. Bad at what? Feelings. Honesty. All of it. Riley stood up and walked over to where Amber was standing.
They were close now.
Closer than they'd ever been, on purpose. Try, Riley said. Amber met her eyes. I like you. More than I should.
More than I want to.
And it's driving me insane because you're supposed to be my enemy, and instead you're the first person I want to text when something funny happens, and I keep finding excuses to see you, and… Riley kissed her. Just pressed their lips together, quick and soft and absolutely terrifying. When she pulled back, Amber was staring at her with wide eyes. Sorry, Riley said. You were spiraling and I didn't know how to. Amber kissed her back. Longer this time. Deeper. With intention. Riley's brain went offline. Her hands found Amber's waist. Amber's fingers tangled in her hair. And for about 30 seconds, nothing else existed except this moment, this kiss, this impossible thing happening. They broke apart, both breathing hard. So, Riley said. So, that happened. Very much happened. What do we do now? Amber laughed, slightly hysterical. I have no idea. I didn't plan this far ahead. You always plan ahead. Apparently not for this. They stood there, still close, neither wanting to move. We could pretend it didn't happen, Riley offered. We could. Go back to being enemies. That would be easier. Much easier. Neither of them moved. Or, Amber said slowly, we could see where this goes. That sounds complicated. Everything about us is complicated. Fair point. Riley took Amber's hand.
Carefully.
Waiting to see if she'd pull away. She didn't. For the record, Riley said, I like you too. Even though you're pretentious and you wear designer clothes to school, and you once called my sweater aggressively beige. It was aggressively beige. That's not the point. What is the point? The point is, Riley squeezed her hand. I don't want to pretend anymore either. Amber smiled. That real smile. The one that made Riley's chest ache. Okay. Okay, let's see where this goes. What about everyone else? The rumors? Your reputation? I'm tired of caring about my reputation. Amber paused. Besides, my reputation is already ruined. Victoria's probably texting the entire school right now. And you're okay with that? I'm okay with you. That's all that matters. Riley felt something in her chest unlock. That's possibly the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. Don't get used to it. I'm not good at romance. You're doing fine so far. They kissed again, softer this time, less desperate. Just nice.
Right.
When they finally left the auditorium 40 minutes later, hand in hand, they found the entire cast waiting outside. Finally, Jordan yelled, We've been betting on this for weeks. Marcus added, I won $50. Elena shouted, high-fiving someone. Amber looked at Riley. Run. Run. They ran, laughing, still holding hands, while their cast cheered behind them. Okay, but this is the cutest thing ever. If you're screaming right now, hit that subscribe button because this story isn't over yet. A comment finally if you've been waiting for this moment, and share this with someone who needs a good enemies to lovers story in their life. The next 2 weeks were a blur, not because anything dramatic happened, but because everything changed in small, significant ways. They still bickered, still argued about blocking and costume choices, and whether the final scene needed more dramatic lighting. It did. Riley was right. Amber would never admit it. But now when they argued, it ended with smiles instead of slammed doors. Now they held hands under the table during production meetings. Now when Amber called Riley insufferable, it sounded like an endearment. The cast had figured it out immediately. Turned out, they'd been running a betting pool since September. Jordan had won $167. "I knew from day one," Jordan said smugly. The sexual tension was insane. "It was not sexual tension," Riley protested. "You pushed her into a fountain. That was hostility. Same energy." Amber found this hilarious, which was inconvenient because Riley was trying to maintain some dignity. The real test came on a Thursday when Amber's mom showed up to rehearsal unannounced. Mrs. Blake was exactly what Riley expected. Perfectly dressed, perfectly coiffed, perfectly terrifying. She looked like she'd stepped out of a fashion magazine and decided everyone else was beneath her. "Amber," she said, not acknowledging anyone else. "We need to talk." Amber's entire body went rigid. "I'm in the middle of rehearsal. This can't wait." "Mom." "Now, Amber." Riley watched Amber's face shut down, all the warmth disappearing behind that perfect mask she wore for the world. Without thinking, Riley stepped forward. "Actually, we're blocking a crucial scene right now. Can this wait 30 minutes? Mrs. Blake looked at Riley like she discovered something unpleasant on her shoe. "And you are?" "Riley Chen, co-director." "I see." Mrs. Blake's tone suggested she saw entirely too much. 30 minutes, Amber. Don't be late." She left. The auditorium felt like it could breathe again. Amber was staring at Riley. You stood up to my mother." "Someone had to." "Nobody does that." "I'm not nobody." Amber kissed her. Right there. In front of everyone. The cast erupted in cheers. When they broke apart, Amber was smiling. That real, unguarded smile that Riley loved. "You're insane. You like it." "I really do." 30 minutes later, Riley walked Amber to her car where Mrs. Blake was waiting. "I can handle this," Amber said. "I know. But you don't have to handle it alone." They held hands until Mrs. Blake cleared her throat pointedly. Riley squeezed once and let go. "Text me after?" "Promise." Riley watched them drive away, anxiety churning in her stomach. Jordan appeared at her elbow. "That woman is terrifying. Completely. Think Amber will be okay?" "She has to be." But Riley wasn't sure she believed it. Amber didn't text that night. Or the next morning. By Friday afternoon, Riley was climbing the walls. "Maybe her phone died," Jordan offered. "For 24 hours? Maybe she's busy?" "She's never too busy to text." Maybe her mom found out about us and is currently planning my murder," Riley said. "That seems most likely." Jordan patted her shoulder. "You're spiraling." "I'm being realistic. You're being dramatic." "I'm dating a theater kid. Drama is inevitable." At 3 p.m., Amber walked into the auditorium. She looked exhausted, hair in a messy ponytail, no makeup, wearing sweatpants that probably cost more than Riley's rent, but were still sweatpants. Riley crossed the space in seconds. "Are you okay?"
"I fine."
"You're not fine. What happened?" Amber glanced at the cast, who were all pretending not to listen. "Can we talk?" "Privately?" They went to the prop closet, cramped and full of fake swords but private. "My mom knows," Amber said immediately. Riley's stomach dropped. "About us?" "About everything." Someone showed her a video from Tony's documentary. "The one of us," she gestured vaguely. "You know. The kissing." "So much kissing." Amber laughed, but it was hollow. "She's not happy." "What did she say?" "The usual. That I'm throwing away my future. That this is a phase. That you're a distraction from my real goals." Amber's voice cracked. "That if I don't end this, she'll pull her donation to the school and get me transferred." Riley felt ice in her veins. She can't do that. She can do whatever she wants. She's already called 3 boarding schools. "Amber." "And the worst part?" Amber looked at her, eyes red. "Part of me wants to just give in."
Do what she says.
"Because fighting her is exhausting and I'm so tired of disappointing her." Riley took her hands. "You're not disappointing anyone. I'm disappointing everyone. My mom." My dad, who doesn't even talk to me anymore. The legacy I'm supposed to uphold. The perfect daughter I'm supposed to be. Screw perfect, Riley said fiercely. Perfect is boring.
Perfect is fake.
I don't want perfect Amber. I want this Amber. The one who stress eats croissants and quotes poetry and gets irrationally angry about stage lighting. I'm not irrationally angry. Lighting is crucial.
See?
That's what I'm talking about. Riley cupped Amber's face. You're real. Messy and complicated and real. And if your mom can't see how incredible you are, that's her loss. Amber's eyes filled with tears. What if I'm not strong enough to fight her? Then I'll fight her for you. And Jordan will fight her. And Tony will probably film it for his documentary. And the entire cast will show up with their plastic swords. Amber laughed through her tears. That's the most ridiculous thing you've ever said. I'm just getting started. I have a whole list of ridiculous things planned. Like what? Like, Riley thought fast. Like making a TikTok of us doing the entire musical soundtrack. Like spray painting Amber Blake is amazing on the gym wall. Like showing up to your house with a boombox playing, what's a song your mom would hate? Literally anything by Lizzo. Perfect. I'll learn the choreography too. You can't dance. I'll learn badly. Make it even more embarrassing for her. Amber was smiling now, really smiling. You'd do that. I'd do anything for you. Riley paused. Except maybe the spray paint. I can't afford bail. How romantic. I'm working with a limited budget here. They stood there in the prop closet, surrounded by fake swords and old costumes, and Amber said quietly, I don't want to lose you. You won't. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because I'm stubborn and annoying and I don't give up on things that matter. And you matter. More than anything. Amber kissed her, desperate and soft and grateful all at once. When they finally emerged from the prop closet 15 minutes later, the cast applauded. About time, Marcus said. We thought you died in there. Nearly did, Riley said. It smells like mothballs and broken dreams. That's just high school theater, Tony added, appearing with his camera. Speaking of which, Amber, can I talk to you? Amber tensed. Riley squeezed her hand once before letting go. Tony led Amber to the side. Riley tried not to eavesdrop, but the acoustics in theaters were betrayingly good. Your mom called Principal Martinez, Tony was saying. She's threatening to pull funding if we don't remove you from the production. Riley's blood went cold. What did Martinez say? Amber asked, voice carefully controlled. He said no. That you earned your position through talent and hard work, not your mother's money. And that if Mrs. Blake wants to pull funding, that's her choice, but we won't be blackmailed. Amber was silent for a long moment. He really said that? Word for word. Also called your mom aggressively entitled, which was pretty satisfying to hear. Amber laughed, surprised. I can't believe. You have people in your corner, kid. More than you think. Tony paused. Also, Riley looked like she was about to commit murder when she thought someone was threatening you. That was adorable. She's protective. She's in love with you. That's Amber stopped. Yeah, she is. And I'm in love with her too? Completely. Riley, who definitely wasn't eavesdropping, felt her entire chest go warm. Jordan nudged her. You're glowing again. Shut up. You're going to marry that girl. We've been dating for 2 weeks. And? When you know, you know. Riley watched Amber walk back toward her and thought, asterisk yeah. I know, asterisk. Opening night arrived faster than anyone expected. The auditorium was packed. Parents, students, teachers, and standing in the back, arms crossed, Mrs. Blake. She came, Amber whispered, gripping Riley's hand backstage. Did you think she wouldn't? I hoped she wouldn't. She's your mom. Of course she came. To criticize, probably. Then we'll give her nothing to criticize. Riley squeezed her hand. We've got this. The show was perfect. Well, theater perfect, which meant someone forgot a line, a prop fell over, and Marcus's wig nearly came off during a fight scene. But the audience didn't care. They were transported. The final scene, the one Riley and Amber had rewritten 17 times, played out beautifully. The two leads, former rivals, stood center stage. Everyone expects us to hate each other, Elena said. Everyone expects us to fail, Marcus replied. What if we don't? What if we succeed? Together. Together. They held hands as the lights dimmed. The audience erupted in applause. Backstage, Riley and Amber stood together, watching the cast take their bows. We did it, Amber said. We really did. Think your mom is impressed? Amber looked toward the back of the auditorium, where Mrs. Blake stood, still and silent. I don't know. And you know what? I don't care anymore. Really? Really. Because I did this for me. Not for her. Not for Yale. Not for anyone's approval. She turned to Riley. I did this for us. Riley kissed her, quick and soft. Best decision you ever made. Agreed. Tony appeared, camera rolling. That's the ending. Right there. That's the documentary. We're not the story, Amber protested. The show is the story. The show is a love story about two people who stopped pretending to hate each other. You two literally lived that story while directing it. You are the documentary. Riley and Amber looked at each other. He's not wrong, Riley admitted. Unfortunately. The cast flooded backstage, everyone talking at once, euphoric with opening night energy. Jordan grabbed both of them in a hug. You two are disgusting and adorable, and I'm so proud. We're not disgusting, Riley protested. You made heart eyes at each other during curtain call. That's called directing. That's called being in love. Someone cleared their throat behind them. Mrs. Blake stood there, expression unreadable. Everyone went quiet. Riley felt Amber tense beside her. Amber, Mrs. Blake said. Could we talk? Privately? Amber lifted her chin. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of Riley. Mrs. Blake's jaw tightened. But then, surprisingly, she nodded. Very well. She paused. The show was good. Good. Amber repeated. Excellent, actually. The rewrite was clever. The direction was professional. You worked well together. Amber stared at her mother like she'd grown a second head. I don't understand your choices, Mrs. Blake continued. I don't understand this relationship. But I've been doing a lot of thinking this week, and I realized something. I've been trying to make you into the daughter I thought I wanted, instead of seeing the daughter I have. Amber's breath caught. You're talented, Amber. Genuinely talented. Not because of my money or connections, but because you work harder than anyone I know. And if this, she gestured vaguely at Riley, is what makes you happy, then I suppose I need to accept that. You suppose? Amber said carefully. I'm not going to pretend I'm thrilled. But I'm trying. Mrs. Blake looked at Riley for the first time. You care about her. It wasn't a question, but Riley answered anyway. Yes, ma'am. Very much. She's not an easy person to care about. Neither am I. We match. The corner of Mrs. Blake's mouth might have twitched. Indeed. She turned back to Amber. I'm proud of you. I should have said that more often. Amber's eyes filled with tears. Mom, don't make a scene. We're in public. But she pulled Amber into a brief hug anyway. When they separated, both of them were trying not to cry. Mrs. Blake nodded once to Riley, not friendly, but not hostile either, and left. The backstage area exploded in noise again, everyone pretending they hadn't been eavesdropping. Amber turned to Riley, tears streaming down her face, smiling wider than Riley had ever seen. She's trying, Amber said. She's trying. It's not perfect. Nothing is. But it's something. It's everything. They kissed, and this time Riley didn't care who was watching. Didn't care about cameras or reputations or what anyone thought. Because this messy, complicated, beautiful thing they'd built was real. And real was so much better than perfect. Okay, I'm crying? If this story hit you in the feels, smash that like button, drop a comment telling me your favorite moment, and subscribe because there might be an epilogue coming if you want it. Also, tag someone who needs this kind of wholesome chaos in their life. You know who they are. Epilogue, 6 months later. Riley sat on the steps of Riverside Performing Arts Academy, waiting for Amber to finish her meeting with the college counselor. Her phone buzzed. Amber asterisk almost done. She's showing me brochures for couples therapy. Riley asterisk what? Amber asterisk JK. She's actually being helpful. Weird. Riley asterisk character development. Amber asterisk mine or hers? Riley asterisk both. Amber asterisk fair. Riley looked up at the school building. In 6 months, everything had changed. The musical had been a massive success. They'd gotten articles in local papers. A video clip had gone semi-viral on TikTok, not the fountain incident. Thank God, a scene from the show. Tony's documentary had premiered at a student film festival and won second place. Riley had watched it once and then never again, because watching herself fall in love on camera was mortifying. But the best change was simpler than that. She and Amber were happy. Not perfect. They still bickered about everything. Still competed over grades and roles, and who could quote Shakespeare faster. Still drove each other completely insane. But now when they fought, they laughed about it after. Now they had Friday movie nights at Riley's apartment. Amber had been horrified by the laundromat, then decided it was authentically charming, which was rich people speak for weird, but I like it. Now they studied together, did homework together, planned their future together. Speaking of which, hey loser. Riley looked up. Amber stood there, acceptance letter in hand, grinning like she'd won the lottery. Let me guess, Riley said. Yale? Yale. Amber sat down next to her. Full scholarship. Academic, not legacy. I'm so proud of you. Your turn. Amber gestured to Riley's phone, where an email notification sat unopened. Riley had been too scared to look. Open it, Amber urged. What if you got in? I know you did. You don't know that. Riley Chen, you're the smartest person I know. You rewrote an entire musical in 2 weeks. You directed a cast of 40 teenagers without killing anyone. You made me fall in love with you despite my best efforts. You definitely got into MIT. Riley took a breath and opened the email. She read it once. Twice. 3 times. Well, Amber demanded. Riley showed her the screen. Congratulations. We are delighted to offer you admission to MIT. Asterisk asterisk. Amber screamed. Actual screaming. In public. Then she kissed Riley right there on the school steps, while students walked past and Wolf whistled. We did it, Amber said. Both of us. Together. We're going to be 3 hours apart. 3 hours is nothing. We'll make it work. You really think so? I know so. Amber took her hand. You're stuck with me, Chen. Whether you like it or not. I like it. Good. Because I'm stupidly in love with you and it's too late to back out now. Riley's heart did that stupid flutter thing that she'd stopped fighting months ago. I'm stupidly in love with you too. Obviously. I'm very lovable. You're very annoying. Same thing. They sat there on the steps, hand in hand, watching students stream by, and Riley thought about the girl she'd been 6 months ago. The one who hid where she lived and kept everyone at arm's length and thought Amber Blake was her mortal enemy. She'd been so wrong. Amber wasn't her enemy. She was her partner. Her best friend. Her person. What are you thinking about? Amber asked. How we started. The dare. The fountain. God, that was embarrassing. That was iconic. That was assault. That was foreplay, Jordan shouted from across the quad. Jordan. Riley yelled back. But Amber was laughing and Riley was laughing and everything felt possible. You know what's funny? Amber said. What? Everyone kept telling us we were too different. Too incompatible. That we'd never work. And they were right. We are different. We are incompatible. Amber squeezed her hand. But we work anyway. Best decision we ever made. Accidentally falling for each other? Choosing to stay. Amber kissed her temple. Every single day. They stayed there until the sun started setting, making plans for college and summer and everything that came next. And when they finally left, walking hand in hand through the parking lot, Riley looked back at the school one last time. The place where she'd learned she was more than her circumstances. The place where she'd found her voice. The place where she'd discovered that sometimes the person you think you hate is actually the person you're meant to love. Her phone buzzed one last time. Jordan asterisk, I told you so. Riley asterisk, yeah. You win. Jordan asterisk, I always win. Now stop texting and kiss your girlfriend. Riley looked at Amber, who was watching her with that smile. The real one, the one nobody else got to see. What? Amber asked. Nothing. Just thinking about how much I like you. Just like. Love. Fine. I love you. Better. Amber pulled her close. I love you too. Even though you're a disaster. You're also a disaster. We're disasters together. Wouldn't have it any other way. They kissed in the parking lot as the sun set over Riverside Performing Arts Academy, and somewhere in the distance, someone was definitely filming them for another documentary. But Riley didn't care. Because this wasn't a performance. This wasn't fake. This was real life, messy and imperfect, and absolutely perfect all at once. And it was theirs. The end. And that's how you accidentally fall for your mortal enemy. If you loved this journey from enemies to lovers, hit that like button one more time, subscribe for more chaotic love stories, and drop a comment telling me, who's your mortal enemy that you're definitely not falling for? Share this story with someone who loves a good romance, and remember, sometimes the person who drives you craziest is the person who makes you feel